Hello and welcome to Movies That Move Me. I'm your host, Elijah Winfrey. I'm an independent filmmaker, and this show is all about the movies that made me want to get into filmmaking. So I figured this is a fun way to kind of let people who do see my movies kind of know where some of my influences come from. But also for folks who don't watch my movies, hey, it's still fun to have conversations about movies, right? So this one that we're going to talk about came out in 2013. June 14th of 2013. It's called Man of Steel. It is a Superman movie, and it was the first Superman movie directed by Zack Snyder. Now, here's the deal. I love this movie, all right? However, I am not toxic about my love for this movie. I am not somebody who says that all the other Superman movies sucked and this is the one, right? Uh, I don't feel that way. Okay. I don't feel that way. I do love this film, but I don't feel like I love this film at the expense of others. That's not how I look at things. Okay. There are some other folks out there who do that when it comes to Zack Snyder for some reason. I like him, but I'm not going to say his stuff is the only stuff to ever exist, right? Because I did enjoy the Christopher Reeves movies of Superman. I did enjoy the Brandon Routh movie of Superman Returns. In fact, I went and saw that with my grandmother, actually, because she's a huge Superman fan. And she really loved the Christopher Reeves movie, and she loved that Superman Returns movie because she felt like Brandon Routh did a really good job playing the Christopher Reeves type Superman. And what is that, by the way? Christopher Reeves type Superman, to me, that is like the Superman. He is the guy who will go save the cat out of the tree. You know what I mean? He is the, for lack of a better term, the jolly good fella. And I know I'm not talking about Santa Claus, but he is the jolly Superman, right? He is the one who is the beacon of the community. He is always positive, right? Nothing really phases him because he is Superman. And the reason why I'm starting with that is because that is how we all knew Superman for a long time. George Reeves played Superman that way. Christopher Reeves played Superman that way. The animated show was like that. You know, you had the Batman animated show that was kind of dark and gritty for kids, right? And then the Superman animated show was the exact opposite, even though it did share some animators and at times tried to dabble in the serious storytelling. A lot of times it's Superman, okay? Nobody can beat Superman because he's Superman. And then Zack Snyder comes in and he says, I'm going to look at this a different way. We're going to talk about how Superman is an alien and he's got to figure out how to actually make it in this world pretending to be a human being when he is in fact an alien. You know, how he has to control himself whenever he's participating in athletics. In fact, Zack Snyder's Superman, I don't believe actually ever participated in athletics because if he did, he would show up everybody on the football field or the baseball diamond or the basketball court. You know what I mean? Like he would just dominate. All right. He would dominate everybody. So he just was not allowed to participate in that. You know, he gets in a fight. He gets punched in the face. Well, guess what? He can't react to that because he would break that dude's face. You know, it's one of those things. So Zack Snyder's Superman was all about showing that reserve. You have ultimate power, but you got to show control. You know, and you got to fit in. How do you fit in? You know, by being Clark Kent and all that. And that's one of the things that I loved about Man of Steel because that was an angle that I had not seen with the other Superman movies. You know, the other Superman movies kind of played it off like, yeah, there was a little bit of a struggle there, but then everybody came to love him because he's great. Again, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm just saying that Zack Snyder went in a different direction. And if you've seen the movie, you know that. One of the other things I loved about this film was the first 10 minutes of it. Oh my God. I had never seen Krypton like that before. It felt like I was watching Star Wars in the first 10 minutes of the movie because there was just so much to take in on the screen. And I loved it. I loved it. I thought all those details about Krypton was super, super cool. And then I also loved the villain in this movie, General Zod, who was played by Michael Shannon. To me, General Zod is one of those villains that you can relate to. I talked about this a few episodes ago. When I'm making my films, I don't like to make somebody the bad guy or the good guy. I like to look at it as they're all human beings. Everybody has that thing that they would sacrifice for, that thing that would push them over the edge. That's how I like to write my characters. And I felt like General Zod was kind of like that because on the surface, okay, if you didn't know, who was right and who was wrong, and all you knew was General Zod's side of things, Superman's kind of a dick because he took everything from him, and Superman's family is kind of a dick because he took everything from him. General Zod's whole purpose is to protect Krypton, and Krypton's not there. So now you have no purpose for your life. And do you really think that General Zod's going to go to job readiness training and try to get a job somewhere else? No, he's not going to do that. Could you imagine that, seeing him sign up for like unemployment or something like that? Like, well, I lost my purpose in life, so now I got to go figure out, what I'm going to do next. And then he's like flipping burgers or something. I don't know. But my point is, General Zod, he had that crisis of who am I anymore without Krypton? And I have a chance to get my life back, get my purpose back. And this dude in Kansas is screwing it up. So for me, I like that angle of the story. And this is spoiler territory. At the end of the movie, when General Zod forces Superman to either kill him or let people die, I thought that was a ballsy move by Zack Snyder, storytelling wise. Because a lot of people don't like that scene because they say Superman wouldn't kill anybody. Right. In a normal situation, he wouldn't. But now he's being forced to face that decision. And I believe Zack Snyder actually said that one of the main reasons why he did that was because he wanted to show why Superman doesn't kill anybody. So yeah, he did it one time, but then after that, he's like, I can't do it anymore. I don't want to kill anybody. I don't want to get to that point. But General Zod forced him to that breaking point. And I love that as far as the storytelling is concerned. Um, like I said, this movie for me, it's my favorite Superman film. It really is. It's my favorite of all the Superman movies that have come out so far. We'll see what happens with James Gunn's Superman. I'm looking forward to it. I'm curious to see what happens with that. I do feel like it's going to be a course correction in a way because Zack Snyder went in such a different way with Superman, basically taking the angle of he's an alien and let's talk about that. And I feel like James Gunn's not going to do that. I feel like he's going to take it more towards the Christopher Reeve side of things where everybody already loves Superman and, hey, let's see where that goes. You know what I mean? I'm somebody, I'm willing to see where it goes as a fan before I, freak out about it one way or the other. But this movie, Man of Steel, really did move me. Like I said, I wasn't really thinking of Superman as a sci-fi character before I watched this film. And then when I did, I went, oh, that's interesting. Because I always just assumed Superman was a hero. He's a comic book hero. He belongs in the comic book section. But then watching this, I'm like, man, like this movie could go next to Star Wars. It could go next to Star Trek, go next to Tron. And it fits right in. You can do a double feature with that. Because he is an alien. And I will say that I know a lot of people get wrapped up in how gritty and how dark and things like that Zack Snyder does with a lot of his films. But in Zack Snyder's defense, he was going to get there eventually. He had it in the arc that Superman would start to become more like the Superman we all grew up with, right? The, jolly good fellow that everybody loves and nobody can beat him because he is America's hero. He is Superman, right? It was going to get there, but it got chopped off at the knees, for lack of a better term. We got to see 3 movies of it and not the full arc. And I would have liked to see that arc. Now, we'll never get to see that. I am not somebody who does the whole hashtag thing, like restore the Snyderverse and all that, because they gave us Justice League. And I loved that, that cut of the Justice League. I thought it was great. We ain't going to get them to give it to Netflix. I don't think that'll ever happen. But we always have Man of Steel from 2013, which is a movie that moved me. And I'm curious if you agree with what I said. I know I said a lot of different things just now, but if you agree with me, let me know in the comments below. If you disagree with me, let me know in the comments below as well. I always appreciate a good debate, especially when it comes to some of my favorite films. But this is one that, like I said, gave me a lot to think about whenever I write my characters, especially when it comes to the stakes involved. You know, just because somebody is on the bad side of things doesn't necessarily mean you can't see some of why they feel the way they do. And just because somebody is a hero doesn't mean they don't have things that make them feel insecure, like being an alien in a planet of human beings. Man of Steel from 2013. Let me know what you thought about that one. And until next time, my friends, be good to yourself, be good to others in that order. I'll see you soon.